If people are not paying for your business, what are you doing? Before you select the company type, ask yourself, why are you opting for a GmbH? Why are you opting for an UG? Or why are you opting even for a sole proprietorship? You have to be able to answer this question. First mistake that people make is thinking about the business registration. Funny thing is they don't even think about what company form should I start with. Hey, welcome to Immigrant Hub, Germany. My name is Mike, and today I am going to be telling you about how to start a business in Germany. More importantly, I want to tell you, start a business in Germany. If you have been living in Germany for at least 2 years, regardless of what you're doing, studying, working, you should already start thinking about starting the business for yourself. And there's no guarantee you're going to succeed, but I want to tell you what the opportunities are for you so you can start considering it. I have a couple of businesses that I've been running for years now, and I'm still building. And what I can tell you for sure is that the future looks brighter than it looks today. It can only get better from now. And so what this means is, if you have ever thought about running a business of your own, trust me, forget all the challenges and difficulties that people talk about owning a business in Germany. Truth is, yes, it's difficult. There's no question about that. But is it worth it? Long term, I believe 100% yes. Because the only way that you can, in my opinion, really succeed in Germany and be financially free to a reasonable extent is being in control of your time. For everyone who has a business, the main thing that we are looking for is a way to have time, or financial freedom is freedom of time, because then you can do the things you love to do, blah blah blah, all this trash. I call them trash because in practice that's not really how it works. Why? Because you will find out that when you own a business, you don't actually have the time that you think you would have. But that's only at the beginning, that's the truth. Later on, hopefully, you will get all the time in the world that you need. But at least you can be sure of being in control of how you manage your time. Okay, the key things are, what should you consider before starting the business in Germany? And I am telling you from my personal experience. I'm not telling you from wherever, heard from whatever. I am telling you straight up from my experience. If you're an African in Germany, and sometimes you interact with other foreigners in Germany, especially the ones that have been here for a long time, for example, the Turkish community, or say the North African communities, some of them that have been here for a while. One thing I always hear them say is, hey guys, start a business. It takes you nothing to start a business in Germany. That's the fact. It doesn't take much to start it, but it does take a lot to build it. And there are definitely certain challenges. And these are the things which I'm going to share with you in this video. So stick around and watch until the end. Now, what are the things you should consider before starting the business? First thing, do not overthink it. Think more about the potentials for yourself. Think more about making the mistakes that you're going to make as early as possible, because then it only gets better over time. It gets tough a bit, but if you are watching this now, then I think you have all the key information that you need and how to navigate the German entrepreneurial landscape. The truth is, it's going to be more challenging for you as a foreigner and maybe as an African than it would be for a German or other Europeans or other people. That's what you will face. But then, if you position yourself better, if you learn from the mistakes of other people like mine, then it's going to be much different for you, right? Because you will know the things that I did not know before, the things that many other entrepreneurs did not know before, and you don't have to make that mistake. Recently, I was providing a consultation to a potential client, and then they were about starting their own company. They've been testing the ideas for some time now, having quite some reasonable engagement on social media, and for sure it's a viable idea, it's a viable service. People are going to pay for the service, although so far no one has actually paid for it, but they can tell, say theoretically, or at least from the interest shown, that people can buy into the business. And now they started thinking, how do we set up a business? First mistake that people make is thinking about the business registration. Funny thing is they don't even think about what company form should I start with. They are thinking about business registration, whatever that means. It's okay, I did that mistake. I went online, did research, I decided for a type of company, boom, I went to register the business, because again, you can easily start a business in Germany. So it was relatively easy for me to go through the process and study. However, it's not been really easy in managing the business, but now things are getting better for sure, because I'm spending more time building the business and I am learning from all the mistakes I've made over the years. And I hope that you are going to learn from my mistakes too. Mistake number one was registering the business without thinking about why I was selecting that company form. So the legal form of the company. In Germany, there are many legal forms of company. The most common ones is the GmbH, and the UG, and then the AG, and then there is the Einzelunternehmen, and then there are the non-profit types, EV, GUG, GmbH, and so on. But there are many more that you don't always see, but except you pay attention, sometimes you see some like EK, O, G, and so on. There are lots of them. My point is, let your business already be a tested idea and already generating some revenue before you proceed. Of course, there's a very thin gray area there which you have to keep in mind, because before you operate legally, you should do all the legal obligations. So you should check this out. But my point is this: before you start, be sure that the business is something which is going to sustain itself. Now, the good thing is this: if you are someone who is currently employed, if time permits you, and if your contract at work also permits you, you can pretty much test your ideas already before you jump in. And why not collaborate with someone who already has an existing business, and you don't have to jump in with all the risk at once. Again, this is what I would do today. And then before you select the company type, ask yourself, why are you opting for a GmbH? Why are you opting for an UG? Or why are you opting even for a sole proprietorship? You have to be able to answer this question. In my time, when I registered my business, I think the reason why I did that is because I started getting international clients, potential partners from outside of Germany. And I wanted them to be able to verify my entity, and I wanted them to be interacting with the business entity and not me personally. But looking back, I could have still worked with them a bit, stabilized things, and maybe went for a different legal form of the company. Because the type I started with, thinking about it today, was not really necessary, because what happened is it came with a lot of legal obligations which I did not really have the capacity to take care of. Neither myself nor the business was generating enough revenue to take care of those legal obligations. And this is the major challenge for most entrepreneurs in Germany. There's a lot of paperwork that will just consume all your time, like time that you're going to use to do essential business development activities, like really focus on the business. And that's very problematic. Mistake number 2, still in line with number 1, was not consulting with a tax advisor to advise again on the bookkeeping, accounting, and financial obligations before starting the company. This is definitely something you should pay attention to. And here I would like to stress both a heavy challenge which is right here in the space, as well as an unimaginable opportunity. The demand for tax advisory services, both for individuals as well as corporate bodies, is so huge, and the supply is like this. Literally, that's how the supply is. And then I ask myself, why are people not going into this space? I can't give you the answer right now here, but what I can tell you is that for every time I get mad or I get stressed or worried about the poor tax advisory services that you get sometimes in Germany, I also think about that opportunity. And what I want to put out here is this: rather than us complaining about the shitty service or the unavailability or the super low supply, why don't we become part of the suppliers? This is definitely something which I am thinking about, and I would like you, if you're also someone who is facing this challenge, to maybe think about becoming the solutions to it. Again, there are challenges, there lie opportunities as well. So the third mistake which I believe I made is also not having a solid structure for my business operation before really going into it. And what I mean is that, what exactly is my complete business operation flow? To put it really simple, how do I go from awareness, getting the interest of the potential clients, customers, everything until I convert them to paying customers? Because at the end of the day, you need paying customers to sustain the business. If people are not paying for your business, what are you doing? Non-profits still need some money, some income to run their business. So if you don't have that clear structure of how you go from the awareness that people know about your service, everything between until that converts into cash in your bank account, then please do not start a business. By do not start, I mean do not register the business yet. You should figure this out, whether in theory, in practice, by testing or whatever, but be sure that that is already well sorted out, because this is your lifeline for the company. If this is not figured out, then what you're probably doing is using your personal income which of course is the case most often. But then at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what type of business you want to run? Is it a business that you can bootstrap, and if you're going to bootstrap, for how long? And then if it's a business that you're not going to bootstrap, how are you going to get funding or finance for it? My point now is how you're going to run the company essentially. If you are relying on bootstrapping from the start, how much do you need or have, and for how long? Again, you can't figure out all these things, and that's why I go back to my first point. Let the idea, let the concept be something which is fully tested. Again, what does it mean fully tested? My point is, before you jump onto the registration and all, figure this out. I'm not sure how you will figure that out, but it's something to keep in mind, because that's the lifeline of your company, of your business. Mistake number, whatever, I don't remember anymore, is hiring people too fast. That's definitely something which I did, and if I would do things all over again, I would change things. The number of people that you hire always depends on the need of your business. Some business you can pretty much run it on your own for a certain period, and then you scale as you grow. Other business you need a couple people. Figure out how many people you need. Best case will be that you are as much as possible in control. And again guys, right now I'm not talking about businesses which need lots of people. I'm not talking about startup ideas that you need, I don't know, so many people and stuff. I'm really talking about you being an entrepreneur with an idea that you can actually convert into money for yourself. In more elevated cases or scenarios, then you definitely need to assemble a team. But again, start with the minimal team, as minimal team members as possible. Why? Because when you have too many people, then it not only dilutes the effort that each person is supposed to make, but then it just leaves room for unnecessary dragging of decision making. And you know, a lot of concept, people want their opinion to be heard, this and that, and you have more friction than you need for you to move, essentially. So at the start, the less friction you have, the better. The less people you have, the better. Mistake number next that I made also is bootstrapping for too long. Definitely. I think I bootstrapped for too long, and one of the reasons I did that was because I could afford it. And I think that created an illusion that I was like running the company, whereas I was just burning money for years. And that's also another mistake that you potentially could make if you don't think things through. It's okay to bootstrap, but ask yourself, what are you bootstrapping to? How long are you going to bootstrap? And when exactly is the company going to run itself, pay its running cost, and also make profit? At the end of the day, you want to make profit. And this means having a clear idea of how you go from that early stage, testing the idea, the product, the service, the concept, generating your initial revenue, even though it doesn't cover everything, but that progressively your running cost will be covered by the revenue generated from the business, from the company, and then soon you can scale, you can have profit, then you can hire more people, and so on and so forth. You would always need to pump in more money into your company, especially if you want your company to grow. But then do not get into that trap. It's a very dangerous trap. The problem there is that you get into it, you don't realize it early enough, especially if you are bootstrapping and then you also have another job which is paying your bills and you're earning some money from it. You just feel like everything is running smoothly. But then when something happens to that main source of income and all you have left with you is the company, then you realize that, oh, what have I been doing so far? And this connects me also to another critical point, which is accounting and bookkeeping. Everything about a business is about the numbers, literally. You as the owner of the business or as the main brain behind the business, you should understand the numbers in the business, and you should be able to predict, prognose, set targets for yourself. These points right now, they are all connected together. Not getting into the trap of using your personal finance into the business for so long, and getting into the illusion that the company is running itself well, or you have a company but you're just burning money, and then not understanding the numbers, not setting the targets, not being able to predict. And I think that part of not setting a target is really key. And this now becomes very obvious if you do not have a good booking and accounting system. I cannot overemphasize how important this thing is. Chances are that you will be so tempted to just pump in money. And by pumping money, it's not like you're just, pumping thousands of dollars, of euros into the business, but it's more like the running cost, that you're just paying this running cost from your pockets. If you have the money, you will not feel it. But the essence of a business is that it's able to run itself. And that's why you are separating the business from yourself as a private person. That's why the business is an entity of its own and you as an individual too. So there should be a clear demarcation. Truth is, it's really difficult at the initial stage, but you should be aware of this and make provisions for that. I think I've mentioned up to 6-7 points right now. I could go on and on, but my point is this: you should start a business in Germany as early as possible. if you are an entrepreneur, if you look around you, you'll see lots of problems that you can solve. And let your passion for starting the business be driven by, amongst other things, one, the genuine interest to solve a problem, something which bothers you a lot. And then secondly, that you want to leverage on a potential or a current trend that you see. And why I am very particular about foreigners in Germany is the fact that right now, regardless of the political situation in Germany and how more and more conservative the system tends to be, the fact remains that as it stands today, as of this recording, more and more foreigners are needed in Germany, and more of them are going to come. The system will make ways for them to come. So people like you watching this, people like myself today, I think we are in a good position to take the lead in the next phase in Germany. Why? Because, well, there's that trend, that growing population. The opportunities are going to become more and more for us. By opportunities, I mean challenges. And you are going to be in the best position to be solving those challenges. This video is not to talk about those challenges or rather those opportunities, but this video is about encouraging you to jump. Take that leap of faith. If you are a student, already begin to think about it. The best thing that you can do right now, begin to network. Who are the people that you should network with to help you get there? Imagine if I had someone who knows what I know today, what I am saying back then when I started the company. If I was friends with them or just a good connection with them, I think I would not make lots of the mistakes which I made back then. So think about yourself associating yourself with someone who has done it before and then getting some information from them. There is no guarantee that you're going to have a smooth ride, but at least you will be sure that you're going to make minimal mistakes. Above all, my point is this: it's easy to start a business in Germany. It's highly encouraged, at least to begin, but you do not necessarily get all the supports essential for you to run the business successfully. Those are the challenges. But then beyond these challenges, the opportunities, really great. I know lots of colleagues or close friends who, because of the bureaucracy in Germany, because of how tough or difficult it is, they rather would start their companies in other EU countries. They are doing okay, and that's fine. But it does not come without its own difficulties or challenges. So at the end of the day, you have to decide what works best for you. Something else you also have to keep in mind is, where do you want to stay long term? Is it here in Germany or you'd rather stay elsewhere? Lots of questions that you have to ask yourself. I cannot cover all of them in this video. But my core message for you is this: take that step. Jump. The worst thing that would happen is you burn some money, you learn, and you can go back to employment if you decide to. Oh, that is if you really go in fully as a business owner. Truth is, it hasn't been easy. It's super lonely in this space. You don't get a lot of friends or close contacts who are able to think with you at that level and help you make decisions. You're mostly going to be taking lots of decisions alone. You're mostly going to be taking a lot of risk alone. But this is everything that builds you up to what the future is going to become for you. And that's where the need to network and connect with other people like yourself comes in. Recently, I've been attending more and more meetups or networking events that would help me connect with other people, because honestly, the entrepreneurial space can be a really challenging, difficult, and lonely space. But that happens if you do not take actions. If you take certain actions or precautions, or if you put certain measures in place, then it changes everything. To sum it all, guys, I encourage you, start a business in Germany. It is challenging, but if you take the right steps, it's going to be worth it. There is a growing trend of more foreigners, more Africans, more immigrants coming to Germany. You can look into that. You can leverage on that. Think about what Germany is going to look like in 10, 15, 20 years from now, and imagine yourself being among the people taking the lead as a migrant entrepreneur in Germany. I'm not sure what picture you see for yourself, but for me, I see myself taking the lead there and helping people become the best versions of themselves. My name is Mike, and I'm the owner of Immigrant Hub Germany, the channel that you're watching. And if you found this video interesting and you feel like someone else should watch it, please share it with them. Thank you for watching. Bye guys for now.